Are you getting super triggered by your 3D? Are you trying to manifest something and it's just not showing up and your reality keeps showing you the opposite? And you're like, what the heck is going on? Nothing I'm doing is working. What can I do? I'm going to talk about this in today's video. Thanks for joining me. My name is Alex. I talk about manifestation on this channel, and I'm going to jump right into it. So, basing our beliefs on the reflection of our internal state is going to keep you in a loop. I've talked about this before, but I had a fresh idea in terms of a metaphor to give you guys, and I'm really excited about it. It's kind of silly, but I think it's going to be very effective. So, imagine, before we jump into that. So, I love to go back to Neville Goddard, who taught that there is nothing to change but self, and if you change your internal state and the version of you that you are, your external world is going to reflect it. Doesn't happen the opposite. Does not happen that your external world changes and then you change on the inside. It has to start within you first, and then the external reflects it, even if it's so subtle and you don't consciously realize that you're changing your reality. This is how it works. It does not happen the opposite. You cannot sit there and say, well, I'll feel supported and I'll feel secure when I get more money. You have to go be the version of you that feels supported and feels secure, and then the money will come in. Or it won't even matter how it comes in, because you're going to start reflecting that you're supported and secure. So you must change the inside. I've talked about this in my manifesting physical changes, how I kept having breakouts and I was really unhappy with the state of my skin, and I was like, oh, if I could just get my skin to clear up, then I'll be able to really feel, I was working on affirming that I felt beautiful, because I was having really struggles with my self-concept, and I was like, well, once my skin clears up, it'll be easier for me to affirm that I'm beautiful. And I just kept myself in a loop because I wasn't feeling beautiful, so my skin was like, okay, I have to keep doing this. And that was reflecting in my brain programming, having me skip steps, not realize I was skipping steps important in my regimen to have healthy, clear skin. So it was like the second that I started affirming that I was beautiful despite my skin, all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I wasn't taking this one vitamin this whole time, and I know that's really important for my hormones and my skin health. You know, how come I haven't been doing it? And then I found out about the gua sha tools, and I started doing facial massage with that, and it changed everything. And it's like, it was just because I was like holding myself hostage with this idea that I wasn't going to be beautiful until my skin cleared up. But of course, my skin is reflecting that internal state of lack, of I'm not beautiful enough, back at me. And it wasn't until I changed my internal state that I was able to change my physical reality. And these things don't just happen magically. Your brain, I talk about this in videos, your brain knows what the answer is already. It knows how to get you there. It knows. We're not going to get into the science of it. It knows how to get you there. And this is what people talk about when it's like the inspired action, the bridge of events. And I just recorded a video about how the bridge of events probably isn't going to look like your manifestation is right there on the other side. It might look like you're going in a totally different direction, but you need to take the inspired action that feels in alignment with the person that you're trying to become. Okay, so what's the metaphor, Alex? So basing beliefs on the evidence of your negative beliefs is like complaining that you hate your lunch every day and doing nothing to change it. So imagine that you get your lunch from a cafeteria every day, and they always put ketchup on your food, and you hate ketchup. And maybe this started because you had, oh, God bless you, my dog is crying and sneezing at me. Maybe this belief started because maybe this scenario started, this story started because you had a feeling that, or a belief that your desires weren't important, or that you weren't worthy of your desires. And so that manifested as when you went to get lunch, the person who was serving you was just like, the person that was serving you was just like, you'd like this better with ketchup, and gives you ketchup on everything, and you're like, oh, I really don't, but you don't feel worthy of expressing yourself, and now everyone thinks that you like ketchup on all of your food, and you haven't felt worthy of actually expressing yourself because you feel that your desires are not more important than other people's, and so you think it's more important for them to give you ketchup than it is for you to speak up and correct them. I know this is extreme, but and kind of silly, but if you have had wounds like this, I'm sure you can think of actual times that this really did happen, and the silliness of some of those cycles and stories that you played out where you really thought that your desires were not worthy of being like valued over somebody else's, and that once you healed that, it was pretty silly looking back that you ever had that belief. So what you need to do if you want to stop having ketchup on your food is you need to become the version of you that feels confident standing up to them and telling them, I do not want ketchup on my food. And maybe you have fear that if you tell them that, they won't give you lunch at all. That's reasonable. That's a reasonable fear. So what would you do in this metaphorical fake scenario? You would start packing your lunch. And maybe you're like, oh, but that costs more money. Okay, so maybe you figure it out in your budget, or you find some way that you are able to provide your lunch in case the people who are serving you lunch with ketchup don't want to stop giving you ketchup. But you need to become that version of you. You need to get up earlier and start packing your lunch. You need to buy the lunchbox. You need to go buy the ingredients. Do you see where I'm going with this metaphor? You can't just say, okay, I'm the version of me that doesn't want ketchup on my food anymore, and that's that. Like, no, you actually have to go out and practice and become that version of you. You have to have the metamorphosis. You have to then embody it and walk the walk and talk the talk of this new version of you. And here's the fun thing, is that if you are still in your wounded belief and you feel that your desires aren't important, and you show up to the cafeteria for your lunch and you say, I don't want ketchup on my food, and you don't believe that your desires are important, you're going to have a negative response. You're going to have a negative response. But if you believe and you have truly healed, and you have healed this belief, and you now feel that you are truly worthy of having your desires heard and respected and honored, you're going to go into that cafeteria and you're going to express yourself, and it might seem scary, but you're going to say, thank you, I actually really don't like ketchup anymore, and I would prefer that it's never on my food going forward. And they're going to respond in a positive way. You're going to say, oh, okay, maybe, I'm getting too into this metaphor, maybe they say, that's new. You don't have to say like, hey, I never liked ketchup. Why are you doing this to me? I can't believe that you've been victimizing me by putting ketchup on my food for the past 5 years. No, you can just say, hey, this is the new thing. Going forward, I would like this. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And maybe they make a comment about it, and maybe they don't. Maybe they just do it. But their response is going to be based on your internal state. So you might get a negative response if your internal state hasn't truly healed yet. But that's why feeling supported within yourself, knowing that if there is a negative response and they're going to refuse to stop putting ketchup on your food, this is so silly, that you can pack your lunch, or that you already did pack your lunch, and it doesn't really actually matter. I keep saying lunch, and my dog is like, please. I don't even feed you lunch. You get breakfast and dinner. What are you getting so excited for? He's like, I don't know. I can just tell we're talking about food. So I'm going to wrap up this metaphor in that when you become the version of you that has the packed lunch already, and you show up with the packed lunch, and you know that you're supporting yourself and that you're honoring your desires, and you show up and you say with your packed lunch, hey, I don't really want ketchup on my food going forward, you have taken the pressure off of them. They are no longer in control of your feelings because you have that packed lunch. So it doesn't matter if they honor or deny your request. because you are supporting yourself in what you want for lunch that day. Does this make sense? I think it does. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this. Do you love my metaphors? I do. Is there anything I can clarify? Is there anything you'd like to hear me talk about? I absolutely love making requests. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings, what's going on with you down in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't already and you want to hear more. Turn the notification bell on so you know when I'm active and posting, which is all the time now that I'm feeling better. Yep, gonna wrap it up there. If you don't want ketchup on your food, don't accept ketchup on your food. I'm gonna leave you guys with that. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.